I've got mixed feelings about doing this particular video. If detail groups are used correctly, then they're great. But the problem with detail groups is that people try and use them quickly. And when you try and do something quickly with Revit, without planning things, invariably you'll end up with a great big mess. Now I know everyone watching this video is going to do things correctly, so there shouldn't be a problem. But let's take a look in this exercise at a good detail group, a bad detail group, and then the ugly ones. From your Chapter 4 folder, open the file Chapter 403 Detail Groups. In the project browser you should have open the drafting view, pipe hanger detail. And strangely enough, we've got several pipe hanger details, and they all look very similar. So how do we sort out the good from the bad? Well, the first place to start could be the project browser. Scroll down to the bottom of the project browser until you find Groups, and expand the Details section. Here we've got a good pipe support, a bad pipe support, and there's the ugly ones I was telling you about. But how do we know which is which? We could right-click and select all instances visible in the view. So now that we know which is a good pipe support, let's click on Edit Group and find out why it's so good. This particular detail has been made up of individual detail components. If we look at the properties, we can see that we've got several families loaded into the project that are detail families. These detail families have been grouped together to form a detail group. It doesn't particularly matter whether these elements are in parametric or not. They could be just simple families with no parameters at all. But the fact is, in the project browser, we can see that the detail group has got a name, but we've also got this other pipe support detail group. Let's find this one and find out why it's a bad one. Click on Edit Group again. Now if we start selecting elements, we'll find that these are individual drafted elements. Now while that might not seem such a crime, after all, in AutoCAD, who really cares? But Revit isn't really designed to have large numbers of individually drawn or drafted elements. It's a model database after all. So while it can cope with it, the more of this stuff that you put in, the slower your file's going to perform. It wasn't designed to cope with these type of elements on a large scale. So now that we know this is a bad detail group, let's cancel it and find out what's wrong with the ugly stuff. Well, the ugly ones, we've got group 1, we've got group 273, and we've got group 795. And if we go through and select each one of these in turn, we'll find that these groups are in fact exactly the same types of group. What I suspect someone has done is they've made a copy of the group, maybe thought about changing it, ungrouped the elements, regrouped the elements, and not bothered with a name, and they've clicked on OK. Now while I can hear you say, but we've only got half a dozen detail groups in this project, and that's not really harming the performance that much, my reply to you would be, try looking at a group that has got 795 unnamed groups in that project, and then come and talk to me about model performance. So, can we do anything about it? Luckily we can. Let's go back to the Properties palette. If I select one of the detail groups, here we can see it's detail group 2. From the type selector, I can change it to the good pipe support. In fact, I can go through and make a crossing window. We've got multiple types selected, and I can change those for the good pipe support. Let's do that to the bad pipe support too, and go and have a look at what's going on in the project browser. The ugly ones are still there. If I right click on them, because they haven't been placed in the project, I should just be able to delete them. Notice, however, when I right click on the good pipe support, we're not able to delete it because it's been placed in the project. We can find out exactly how many of those have been placed in the entire project by looking at the filter in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, or clicking on the filter on the ribbon. So, if you're going to use detailed groups, please use them properly. Your colleagues will thank you for it.